We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives, we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition, and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together. Wow.
And Didi?
Yeah.
I hear a bird. And you know what that means? It's spring again.
Yeah.
Finally.
Today is not really sunny though. But
No, it's the promise of springtime.
The promise. There's the first bird.
Yeah. We're talking about springtime and the wood element today. Yeah. Very interesting.
Oh, it's very, 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 it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
Yeah.
Is the elements. Because, I teach about 5-element food. I teach about 5-element herbs. And just knowing about 5 elements, what they stand for, it's just amazing. And it gives such more depth to how you can look at yourself, how you can look at your surrounding. So
nature, it's the system to rule them all.
Absolutely.
Right?
Or for me, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think if people really dive into it, and we're going to help with that today, of course, is they will see it's like this is just pure magic. Yeah.
It just gives such an understanding. And we did another podcast just on the 5 elements. So it shows how energy behaves. It's the cycle of change.
How energy transforms through the seasons, right? Yeah. The literally season and the figurative. I mean, both, right?
Yeah. And but it is also translated to yourself. Which is great because it puts you in this bigger perspective.
You are the microcosm in the macrocosm. Long silence. Okay, let's get to the point.
Yeah.
So we're talking about springtime. So which element is that?
Well, you already said it.
Oh yeah, I did. The wood element, of course.
And for the people that are in the northern hemisphere,
like us,
I kind of had to think about it. At this particular time, it's spring. We're heading into spring, so we experience this energy everywhere at the moment. And you see where a couple of weeks ago there was nothing. I'm looking out the window to our garden, and it was just there was nothing there. And in a couple of weeks, you see plants coming up. You see all the leaves coming out.
It's that time again. Beautiful.
And of course, you do hear all the birds at the moment.
I mean, there's a couple of sort of small crow. I don't know the English word for that, but there's this couple. I think they're here every year under our roof. They started pecking at the house. The first time I heard it was like, is there something wrong with the heating or something? But it was like a tock 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 tock. So they're at it again. Which sort of makes me happy also. It's like all these signs of spring.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
And so, but the thing is, with all that movement, that's exactly what the energy is of this element. It's the expansive. They also call it the penetrating.
Well, if you
energy.
look look at a plant coming through concrete or something, it finds its way right through pavement. It's like it goes straight up. It's that kind of energy. It's rising energy that we're in.
And it's expanding energy. It wants to go. It's been locked up for months, and now it's ready to
rumble.
Yeah, to go out and do its thing. So
that's why the wood element. I think that's the wood it represents that, right? If you think about this movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just keep that in mind. That's the energy that belongs to it, and also the phase. You can see it as a phase in your life or in a life. and this is of the child. And the child is growing so rapidly, is learning so many things, and that's the energy.
So it's a season of life, right? You have seasons like in a year, but there's also and that's so beautiful.
It's just a cycle of change. How does the energy represents? And this is so. But you can have more cycles like that into your life. But just looking
globally from birth to death, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this would be the energy of the child.
So it's playing and
it's a child doesn't have any rules yet, or you put rules upon the child.
Yeah.
But the child doesn't have that from within.
No.
So it's, as you said, it's playing, it's going out, it has
exploring and
so many opportunities, and no boundaries. The boundaries come from outside. So that's the kind of thing that belongs to this element and this season. It just goes out with extreme
spontaneity and things like
endless,
that.
Creativity, that's a very important one. So can you allow all this spontaneous
creativity, which a child has? So if we translate it to the more older children listening now, right? It's not only for that, but it's also for themselves, right? It's like how playful are you now in your life? Living in this world full of boundaries and regulations and things like that, right?
Because that is what comes up, and then that's the opposite of it. So this is what the energy that comes along with this element, but then we're not able to be as creative, as free, as spontaneous as our wood element within us would like us to be.
Oh, of course. But, walk outside and the first thing you see within 100 meters, there's like this signpost that say you cannot do this or this law or there's that law or things like that. So like what the child experiences when it's young, and then the parents say no, or the teacher says no, or you should do this, do that. That puts like strain on this creativity, right?
Yeah, and what's the result of that is there is stress, or because you need to do something that maybe doesn't completely feel right, or there is frustration.
Yeah. There's this impulse like I want to do that, but oh no. So I think when a child grows up, I mean, then you have this outside thing that is like saying no boundaries, but then you take these things and you make them your own. And that also can come from trauma, right? It's like, I experienced this. I'm not going to do that anymore because it made me sad or fearful or whatever. Yeah. And then all these boundaries start building up around a person's system, right?
Yeah.
Contracting energy and everything. And that leads to?
Frustration and stress and a lot of other symptoms.
And that can result in a lot of anger.
Yeah.
And that's also this energy, this penetrating energy. So you can see if a person really gets mad, really angry, then you see this energy shooting up and then bang, this
And that's not so bad when it really comes out, but a lot of us explode within.
Yeah.
And then, you get other problems
with a lot of creative people, you can see this, that they are sort of balancing in between this creativity and this. Well, they can be pretty heavy people in their reactions and everything, right? They're very straightforward. So not reserved at all. It's like, I'm going to be really political now and blah, blah, blah. If you look at a lot of artists and people like that, they're very straightforward, right? And and it needs to be, because it needs to go somewhere.
It needs to go, and I think, of course, you do live in a world where if everybody could be as loose and without any rules, it would be chaos as well. But the most you're talking about conditioning.
Yeah, sure.
If you're so conditioned that you don't allow yourself to be who you want to be, who you can be. And
that messes up your alignment, your thinking, your feeling, your actions. Those are not aligned anymore. If you do, if that goes too far, and that leads to a lot of emotional things. Yeah,
absolutely. No, and so the organs that related to this element, which are, I find this really interesting. I'm kind of crazy about this stuff, but it's the liver and the gallbladder.
Yeah.
And the liver is what it stands for in traditional Chinese medicine, not so much in the Western medicine, but it is responsible for a nice flow of qi, of energy through your body, through your system.
Through all the organs.
Through
really, right?
all the organs, through also for emotional, etc. So
it needs space.
It
right?
needs space.
Needs space, yeah.
The thing is, if it's not in balance, you will get stagnation.
Yeah, liver qi stagnation is one of the most common things here in the West, right?
Yeah. I honestly don't know anyone here who doesn't have a liver qi stagnation at some point. And
if you want to test this, go with your car to the traffic light, stand in front of it, right? And then when it goes green, just wait a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you know what liver qi.
And maybe not for you, but all the
yeah.
people,
Oh yeah, of course. So
in traffic you see it a lot. Also in so many
road rage
different
and
places
things like that.
And
that's where you see it a lot coming out, right?
Yeah.
And you see it online, of course. You see it how people behave online, or you can see.
Yeah.
There's no nothing to hold them back, right?
Yeah.
And then. Yeah.
But and especially when there are a lot of people together, like cities, you see it more there.
Sure, because this energy, we're constantly in each other's energy fields, right? So and how, I mean, so there's if you want to make this simple, there's just a lack of space, right?
Yeah.
So with this stagnation of the liver. I mean, we have. I don't know in English for sure, but we have like sayings about it, right? Do you have something on your liver? That's roughly translated, which is very common. It's like for people who are frustrated, right? It's like or angry or whatever. Oh, do you have something on your liver, right? Which means like it's suppressed. So it's so in our language as well.
Absolutely.
And spitting your gall, right? Spitting your gall from the gallbladder. It's the same thing.
And it translates into that you come out with your frustration.
Yeah. And that's funny that we have this. We this is very old. These are old sayings. So people had this knowledge at a certain point that they knew the relation between these organs and the emotions, right?
Absolutely. Now we're going to a different lane, which I find so interesting as well. But of course, we had those same knowledge. It's just. In traditional Chinese medicine, it was put on paper, and here it stopped.
Yeah.
So we have until the Middle Ages, we have we have information about this knowledge, and then we had
Hildegard von Bingen.
Hildegard von Bingen is a perfect example of implementing this knowledge and having so many books written about it, which is great, great, great stuff. But then it stopped. It kind of we had modern Western medicine coming in, and you saw a split dividing where it was more about the body. I should do.
We should do a podcast about
this.
This is such amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But for now, it's it's funny that we have this in our language. We have this somewhere in our wisdom.
Our great-great-grandparents who did not have the ability to study in China about traditional Chinese medicine, they would still have this knowledge because they were studying their own bodies,
Yeah.
but also they would study nature. And this is all in nature. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's great,
so we know a
isn't
couple
it?
of things. We have this opposition of creativity, roughly, and playing, and the other we have the stagnation, the frustration, and
the liver and the
the liver, the
gallbladder
gallbladder. And then now what? So you have this liver chi stagnation. Come on, Didi. Come on. Now what?
and of course there are more things related to this element which can be imbalanced, but the biggest one is and I want to give you a couple more examples of liver chi stagnation, because it can be for all the women listening, if you have any problems with your menstruation. It's probably in traditional Chinese medicine we relate it to the liver and to wood element, which is out of balance, that there is no flow of qi, that there is too much, or, so that's...
So the disbalance that comes out of that, right?
And there's mostly emotional stagnation there, which has an impact on... Everything, but for women... And I know a lot of women who have problems here in their menstruation cycle. I see a lot of new podcasts coming out of this one.
Yeah.
But this is a big one, and also and why this one is a great one to talk about is that also the liver, because it has this thing about having a good flow of qi through your body, it has such an impact on your digestion. And if your digestion, if you have a lot of stress, your digestion is probably out of sync. And you see that. You see that there's the liver attacks the stomach or the spleen.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of problems with the digestion because of the liver. So you can eat the best food. You can do all the rituals about your food. If the liver is really disbalanced, then you should first work on the liver.
So that makes me think is that, I mean, in Western society, right? And I mean, Eastern society, of course, as well, right? I mean, this is so common that you could say that it's not that black and white, of course, but this liver thing is one of the major
things,
disbalances.
Oh, absolutely.
In the world,
all
as
my
we're talking,
clients
right?
have a disbalance on the liver.
Yeah. So and so if you can solve that, you can find a way for that. You're solving so many issues.
Yeah.
That's just so.
Or even a little bit. If even a little bit. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a little bit sidetracked, but you would say, like, okay, one of the most important entries in healing yourself or whatever would be starting to work on the digestion, right? The stomach, the spleen.
Yeah.
But without the liver.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
That's
just
what
now. Yeah. I'm trying to translate it again, right?
Yeah,
I'm thinking because you're such an expert, and I'm trying to follow.
We have to think about the both of them.
Yeah.
So you take care of liver, and if you're stuck, if you're doing everything on the digestion and you're getting stuck, well, this is a great point to work with.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have a little bit insight. So what can you do to
soothe this?
To work with the wood element.
Yeah.
And
I'm all ears.
Well, your liver wants that space.
Space. It's all about space.
So there you come in.
Yeah, I mean, Qigong is all about space.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about recognizing stagnation on all these different levels, like physical, emotional, and mental, and giving space, releasing.
And so here you have the connection, why we work together.
So I do know how I can solve my liver problems, right?
Yeah.
No, but for a lot of people, it might be, they're like, okay, this Chi Skills channel is so interesting, but it might seem a little bit apart, like we have the Qigong, we have the food, and we have menopause and everything. But people, everything is energy.
Yeah.
And our enemy is stagnation.
Yeah.
So, and these are all entries to the same thing as this dissolving.
Yeah. So what's the first exercise if you work with if you're just focusing on the liver and what kind of energy it likes to have is stretching.
Stretching.
It will up. If you people who wake up and feel that stiff.
Mm-hmm.
They
Pinocchio.
have, if they feel like their lower back is hurting and stuff. The thing that works best, because that is a point that your liver is kind of...
Oh yeah. It's contracting. It's like
talking to you.
Yeah.
Like,
not so silently anymore, but
the best thing to do
is start stretching.
Stretching.
And the funny thing is, if I teach privately as well, right? So I will go through like the 5 power stretches, which is awesome, right? And have someone in front of me and we're doing the first stretch of the 5, right? And after this first stretch, they're like,
yeah,
because this is pretty extreme stretch, right? And we're throwing after the stretch, just releasing and shaking it off. And then like, oh, we've got 4 more to go, right? And if you see what this one stretch already did for them in releasing the pressure, it's insane. Yeah. And then the feeling that comes after is not only the relaxation, but it's also you start feeling the energy flow. You feel the energy body going, and there's more silence, and
that's beautiful. And that also shows you're getting all relaxed.
Yeah.
So it shows that the liver, which is responsible, and we're not talking just about the organ liver. It's the liver system.
Exactly.
That it's responsible for a good flow of energy through your body. Because by stretching, you give it space and you give the chi space into your body.
Yeah.
Which is... So stretching is a good one. Meditating. And especially to get insight in yourself, to get insight into where you're conditioned, where you're holding on to.
Well, this is where you decide if it's like, you can go a lot of ways, right? But you can decide for yourself. It's like, okay, where do I want to temporarily relax from this, right? Or do I want to solve underlying patterns that I'm living with, right? So meditation can help for sure, right? It's just step back, observe, don't touch. But what is it you might still be touching? You see yourself touching, right? So on a deeper level, and I hope that we can help people with this as well in the coming time, is going deeper into, okay, this transformation is really giving yourself the opportunity to change things in you to release yourself. Because if you don't do that, patterns will just be patterns, right? You might be temporarily relaxed. You go to the sauna, you go to a massage, you stretch. But why? I think the whole reason for starting this channel is going beyond that and saying, okay, you have to recognize where you got conditioned and where this playful child that still is in you is feeling contracted, and allow yourself space. And of course that needs introspection. Yeah. But it's not per se for everyone. Not everyone is ready for that sort of thing. But if you want to move beyond it, you have to work on those levels. Yeah. Stuck emotions, stuck thought patterns, stuck reactions,
so it's also being creative. Allow yourself to be that creative person.
Force that you are.
Put creativity in everything that you do.
I hear so many people say, I'm not creative. I'm like, what? You're a human being.
You can be creative in how you brush your teeth. Start on the other side for a change. Yeah. No, I'm just saying you can be creative in so many ways.
You are a creator, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can go really biblical here, but you're created in the to be a mirror image of God, right? So you are a creator, but are you still creating? Are you still allowing yourself to be this creator?
Yeah, and that's so important that you come out and be who you want to be.
Of course. And then we have something very interesting, is that what can support that if we look at herbs?
Oh.
Because we've not talked about it yet.
No,
it's really important that we have
going that way.
Yeah. Because I feel that it's helping us so much, right?
Yeah.
It's like how can
No, there's a couple of things, because now we're working from the emotional state.
Yeah.
But you can also do and of course stretching is more on the physical, but you can also help this process by the food that you eat.
Yeah.
And especially now in springtime is the great time to for cleansing yourself, for cleansing especially the liver, because that is the organ that belongs to this at this time. And you can do that by fasting, which a lot of people do from a religion standpoint in this time.
In this time, yeah.
And it can be on all different ways. And we're going into that in another podcast really deeply.
It's going to be a long list now.
Yeah.
Cool.
But we're going to do that in somewhere
in the next couple
of weeks, because it's really, really interesting.
It's huge.
And we're doing it at the moment.
Yeah, it's wow.
And it's mind-blowing. So cleansing, and but also working with herbs. And when I look into the garden again, I see all these great herbs that have to do with the liver. And one, which a lot of people think is just, they want
like a sort of weed.
I want it out of the garden. That's the dandelion. I'm not sure of pronouncing it right, but that's a lovely cleanser for the liver. And you can take it out, don't throw it away, and use the root, clean it, and put it into your tea.
Wow!
And do that for a while.
Yeah, just like a sort of a
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And drink this tea twice a day, and it's great.
It's a cleanser. It's so interesting because you're cleaning yourself now for this next cycle, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what you're doing. Yeah.
And that's because I'm not sure if we started with it, but this does feel much more as the new year.
Yeah, that's interesting because we're saying, the new year is the 1st of January. But when you look outside,
this is when everything starts.
Yeah.
So this is also if you want to start something new, if you want to start with
your book, you want to write your book.
Or you want to change your career or whatever. If there's a new beginning, a lot of relationships start around this time. This is a great time for beginning, and so you want to clean yourself for that new experience.
Release the old for
and make
new.
Space for the new.
Space.
Yeah.
Space magic. I mean, that's just that's the magic right there. That's the magic word. That's all we're teaching.
Yeah, space.
It's creating space, and what comes after you create space.
Yeah.
Right? What wants to come out?
If you're rid, and that can be on a physical level, that can be on all levels.
Yeah.
If you're cleansed and if you're rid of all that
and
stagnation, it will give you the space to move on.
Yeah, and this is a bit courtesy to Ben, a student of mine who I talked about to yesterday, and he talked about the difference between wanting or having to do something. Right?
Yeah.
So I think this is also a time to really, when you're sitting there in meditation, whatever you're observing is like also meditate on that. It's like, do you have the feeling that you have to do stuff, or do you actually want to do things? Right? And this difference, I mean, if you want to relax the liver, that's a huge one as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're so locked up in this conditioning, right? So recognize that, and what do you want for yourself?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Wow,
this was great. So, if you like this, like and subscribe. Have a lot of fun this spring. We'll be back soon.
Yeah.
With another one.
And we'll be talking about this much more.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
okay, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.